I'm not good enough. This is just too hard. I'm not sure how I got here. These people are so much smarter than me. These are some of the thoughts that used to plague my brain when I was working at Goldman Sachs, one of the best investment banks in the world. In fact, a 2022 Forbes report stated that the acceptance rate to get into Yale was 5%, into Harvard it's 3%, but into Goldman Sachs it was an incredible 1%, making it one of the most competitive processes globally. Yet I had defied all the odds and I still struggled with thoughts of anxiety. I thought I wasn't good enough. Well, if you've ever felt like this is what Stanford professor Carol Dweck calls a fixed mindset. This is the belief that your talent and intelligence are innate and cannot be developed. You see, a fixed mindset believes that some people are born with a high level of intelligence and some people are born with a low level of intelligence. And no matter what you do, cannot improve this. But as you know, your mind is a muscle. And with any other muscle, it can grow with conscious practice and consistent improvements. Some fixed mindset statements may sound like, I don't like numbers, I find maths difficult, or successful people are lucky, or this person is a naturally good public speaker, doesn't need to practice. Conversely, a growth mindset is the belief that new abilities can be developed. This embraces the love for learning and overcoming challenges and is one of the key traits in high performance. Going back to our previous example, a fixed mindset may say, I find maths difficult, numbers confuse me, they puzzle me. But a growth mindset will think, yes, this is quite challenging. I may find numbers quite hard, but if I practice, I can improve. A fixed mindset may say, this person's naturally a good public speaker. He doesn't need to practice. A growth mindset will say, I recognize this person has natural charisma, but I can always develop my messaging. I can always be more confident. I can always improve my stage presence. A fixed mindset will say, successful people are lucky. They were born or they inherited their success. Whilst a growth mindset will say, all successful people have failed at one point. The key difference is they persevere and they don't quit. In fact, one of the greatest inventions known today was done by Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. When being asked about his invention and the number of times it took him, Edison famously said that he didn't fail 10,000 times, but he found 10,000 ways the light bulb didn't work. This is phenomenal because Thomas Edison recognized that failure is just a part of success and not a personal limitation. In fact, one of my favorite verses is taken from James 1, 2-4. And it says, count it all joy, my brothers and sisters, when you go through various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. And let patience have its perfect work, so you are complete and lacking nothing. This verse is so transformational and has completely changed my life. In fact, let's break it down. When you first hear the statement, count it all joy, or consider it pure joy when you go through trials, that might sound a bit conflicting. Why should I be happy when I'm going through this negative experience? But what this line tells you to do is reframe your perspective. When you're going through a challenge, don't think of it as a negative experience, but rather an opportunity for growth. Instead of seeing it as a withdrawal, see it as a deposit into the checkbook of your life, a credit into the bank of your experience. And notice it says, count it all joy when you go through trials, not if. That shows that trials are an inevitable part of life, but it's up to you to go through trials, not grow through trials. Remember, we can't control our circumstances, but what we can control is how we think about it and how we respond to it. And then it says, the testing of your faith will produce patience. Hold up there, let's think about the word test. In the 1830s, when determining whether a coin was authentic, it would go through a test. This test was that the coin was put under extreme levels of heat to see if it was a real coin or if it was a fake coin. So when you're going through a testing situation, it's not to condemn or to destroy you, but rather to purge so you come out better. So any situation you go through, let it refine you, not define you, so you are complete and lacking nothing. Whenever you go through a trial, whenever you're going through a trial, consider this. What am I missing? What skill, what contact, what behavior, what piece of knowledge can I get and learn from this situation that will allow me to be more complete, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and physically. Perhaps this is a problem that takes you a year to deal with. However, once you learn from this experience, you can collapse timeframes and deal with it in 6 months, 3 months, a week, or even a day. Trials are not there to destroy you, but rather for you to learn from the situation, apply a growth mindset, and come out at the end a lot better. A growth mindset recognizes the objective and understands challenges are essential for personal development, and overcoming obstacles will help you be a more complete and well-rounded individual. Another phenomenal Bible verse is taken from Proverbs 21 verses 5, and it says, "The plans of the diligent surely lead to profit, but those of the hasty only lead to poverty." Wow. I'll say it again. The plans of the diligent surely lead to profit, but those of the hasty only lead to poverty. Could it be that you are in the situation you are in life because every time it comes to making a decision that could change your life, that could change your family's life, that could change the life of those people around you, that could transform your destiny and entire future, your thoughts tend to lack? Are you looking at a situation and assigning a level of difficulty that says the situation is bigger than you? Not because it actually is bigger than you, but because your mind tells you it's bigger than you. There are 2 key words in that verse that just blow my mind. Let's break that down. The plans of the diligent surely lead to profit. Okay, the word surely means they're going in that direction. It goes with conviction. So if you have a growth mindset, if you think of a situation as an opportunity to improve, you are in your growth mindset. And it will take you from one place to a place of diligence, to a place of development. You will be better as a result. But then it goes on to say, of those of the hasty only. That means one outcome lead to poverty. Think of the last time you were in a difficult situation. Were you in a haste to escape the difficulty so you can get back to your comfort zone? Has your comfort zone ever served you well? So it's so important to reframe your perspective. A fixed mindset believes that your talent or intelligence are innate and cannot be developed. So they are prone to procrastination and also prone to impulsive decision making. But a growth mindset recognizes that new learnings and new abilities can be developed through consistent practice. And so they tend more towards diligence, and that, from our Bible verse, leads to profit. That leads to abundance. That leads to success. But if you don't have this mindset, it only leads to poverty. It only has one outcome. So it's so important to reframe your perspective. Understand that all things that are physical manifest from the spiritual.